welcome to what?
Season 3
of Meet Me in Tennessee. It's your go-to podcast for all things East in the volunteer state. Join us as we explore the stories and people behind the hidden gems, vibrant cities,
and
breathtaking landscapes.
man, they're everywhere.
We're going to hear about those today a little bit, talking about landscape and outdoor, just in case you were curious. I'm Lara, in case
Jumping
you didn't
ahead,
know.
taking my words.
Sorry. Oh, gosh, see, I didn't read your part of the script. You know where we are. We're in Maypop Studio in downtown Johnson City. Mitch running the house today.
Thanks, Mitch. I'm Jenna, and the days are getting brighter. The temperatures are getting warmer.
I'm going to interrupt you already because I need you people to understand we do record these a little bit in advance. It is an abnormally cold day.
Looking at you.
We are dressed for winter.
She's like,
so that we are ready to talk about spring.
That's right. Well, but seriously, the days are getting brighter, and it's like if anyone that questions the winter blues, like it's a real thing. Like a little more sunlight brings me a lot of joy. So I'm glad to be talking about spring, all the spring things to do in Northeast Tennessee. And today we have Johnson City naturalist Connie Deegan in the studio to talk about all things outside, outdoors, and all the fun we can have there.
Connie is a favorite around here, especially when it comes to wildflowers, which I know nothing about other than they're beautiful to look
Yes,
at.
we love putting them in vases.
Yeah. Hiking and snakes.
Yeah.
I don't have many fears in my life. That's one of them, though.
Snakes and spiders, no. But maybe Connie will change our mind.
Punch a spider in the throat and not think twice about it.
Well, it's a little less intimidating than a snake.
But a snake, anyway.
But Connie's like, don't touch my snakes.
Right,
Don't punch them in the throats.
Hiking season. It's in full swing. So we're here to learn more about the mountains and whatever else Alicia wrote out here. Forests.
Hey, well, I'm gonna get back to it. Connie is fun, and I can tell you this personally. I've worked with her before. She's a lot of fun. Got some cool stories. She's also got some fun glitter in her hair today, so I'm loving that. She was named Tennessee Wildlife Federation's Conservation. Whoa, I almost messed that up. Conservation Educator of the Year, among many other accolades. And in her spare time, if she has any, you'll find her winding the back roads on her motorcycle. That's how I met her, with some motorcycle ride stuff. But Connie, welcome to the show. We'd love to hear about you growing up, you know, what got you into the outdoors and how you got to Johnson City. in that order.
There's
in that
four
order.
questions in one. Go.
That's right. And we're going to be quiet the rest of the time. Take it away.
Alrighty then. Well, how I got to Johnson City, I was living in Connecticut and I was married and my husband passed away and I was working as a naturalist and I wouldn't have picked Connecticut because I wasn't from there. My husband was from there. And I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it on a naturalist as a single parent. Right. So I would have hung out because the area where I lived had an incredibly great public school system, but my daughter was like, no, we should move. Because we weren't unhappy, but we're just kind of like that, both of us. And I explained that it would be about big people stuff. And I actually had a list, a criteria. It had to be a beautiful place with a lot of outdoor recreation opportunities. I wanted a university in town in case I wanted to go back to school. I wanted a medical center. I wanted a good public school system and perhaps an airport. And so I did a whole bunch of research and I came up with 6 places, and Hartney and I jumped in the truck and we took a road trip right before her freshman year of high school. And we went to all 6 places and we liked 2 and we picked Johnson City, and it was a fantastic choice for me. It just was.
How many years ago was that?
This is the longest I've lived anywhere. I can't believe it. I think this is my 17th year. I've never lived anywhere this long. I think the longest I ever lived anywhere, even as a child before, was maybe 5 years. I just moved and moved and moved. My dad always got transfers, so we moved as a family, and then I continued to move all over the place. I mostly lived in New England and New York State. I did live out west for a bit in Colorado. And then I got to travel after college, so I lived in some really cool places then.
And so how did you become a naturalist? How did this?
You know what? When I was a little kid, all I wanted to be was the naturalist. That's all I wanted to be.
And for the people like me, like what all is a naturalist do? Like what all does that career entail?
Most naturalists will go to school, will go to college and get a degree. My degree was in natural resources and education. And A naturalist is a person that interprets the natural world. So when you're walking through the woods and you see a red, fuzzy, pointy thing on top of a leaf, like I might be the person that can say, I'll tell you exactly what that is and why that's there. Or a ball on a stem, like what are those things anyway? Or why does that tree have that really weird hole in it and how did that get there? So naturalists interpret the natural world. I think that many naturalists usually have a focus. Some people are, like I feel like naturalists have to know a little bit about a whole lot of stuff, but they tend to specialize in one or two areas. Some naturalists are totally into mushrooms. Some naturalists are into wildflowers. I'm a herpetologist, so my background, my strong area is reptiles and amphibians.
Yeah.
And of all those cool animals, of all the choices of reptiles and amphibians, I'm best known for snakes. Snakes are my favorite. I used to wonder why snakes are my favorite animal. They have been my favorite animal since I was a little kid. I have no idea why. I've never.
Neither do I, Connie.
Yeah.
Oh, I know why now. I mean, I know why I like them, but I don't. It's worked well for me because I find that. Let's say you like butterflies. If you like butterflies, you might go to a lecture or a program on butterflies. If you don't like butterflies, you're not going to. But I find that my snake programs are attended by both sides of the coin. Like people that don't like them want to know more, and people that do like them want to know more. So that's kind of a cool thing for me. I didn't realize, I didn't make that choice intentionally. It's always been my critter. When I walk through the woods, I look down all the time. And because I look down, I miss a lot. But because I look down, I see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, I do have pet snakes.
What kind?
I have corn snakes.
They're just little, right?
I'm going to tell you something
Snake-
that I don't care what
Snake
size
Boy
it
was a 6-footer. I
thought
had
corn snakes were like a foot long.
no.
Maybe
No.
I'm thinking of a different kind of snake.
Yeah, you are.
What's the little one? What's the little guy?
That's the little guy. There's a ton of
a
little
worm.
guys.
That's yellow.
There's a worm snake.
That's a worm.
There's a smooth earth snake. There's ringnecks are small. DeKay's brown snakes are small. There's quite a few
6
species
foot-
that
6
stay
foot.
tiny. Yeah, and corn snakes to me are kind of like the golden retrievers of snakeness. I mean, they're
This
just
one's for
like
you. That's that one's for you, girl.
The golden retriever of
Snake.
snakeness.
snakeness.
So
They're just
loyal.
they're usually
Lay around and let you just pet them.
they're just usually really calm. They usually eat really well. Yeah, they're a good pet. If somebody's into snakes, they would be a good choice, a good starter snake. So I ended up with corns a long time ago, and I've stayed kind of loyal to them. But I'm into native snakes. I'm into native everything. As a naturalist for me, people will say, well, what do you know about the San Francisco garter snake? And I'm like, not a lot, because I don't live there. Or the pythons or anacondas. Well, I don't live in Africa. I don't live in South America, so I don't know a lot about that. I like teaching people about animals or plants that you might see here when you're out on a walk.
So building off of that, coming from Connecticut
Yes.
to Northeast Tennessee,
Yes.
in this area as a naturalist, what attracted to you the most with what we have to offer in these mountains?
Oh, what attracted me the most?
Loaded
Have
question.
you looked at the mountains? I mean, it's so beautiful here. I don't want to freak you out, but I got news for you.
Freak me out.
Like,
Yeah.
people in
She's
New
never
England,
gone on another
people in
hike.
New England, they kind of know that there's this place called Tennessee, but they don't know anybody that's ever moved there.
right.
Like, who does that? And even on my road trip with my 6 places, I was like, well, Tennessee's not going to work. I mean, Tennessee, I don't know. And I remember one of the places on my list was Asheville. I didn't want to put Asheville on my list because I knew it would be too big for me and probably too expensive. And so I did visit it because when somebody tells you something, a couple people tell you something over and over again, you probably better check it out. So I made myself check it out. I was like, no, not for me. And when I came back, I'm on 26. 26 is an amazing road, and that's an interstate. And I dropped down into Irwin, and I started paying attention, and I started looking around. And I'm going by the Noli, and I'm looking at the mountains, and I know Johnson City's around the next bend, and I'm like, this place is freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful here. So that's what really attracted me. I also like the size of Johnson City. I had to find a job. And I wanted to get back in my field. So I couldn't move to a little tiny town, and I didn't want to be the waitress in the coffee shop. It wasn't going to work for me as a single parent. So I needed a big enough place, and I rolled in here, and I remember the exit I pulled off at. I went to the visitor center when it was at that old white house. I went to the high school. I talked to a counselor that we happened to find that was there. I found a real estate agent, because when I liked a place, that's what we did. And I liked all the answers I got. And I'm like, this place is freaking perfect. And it had to be affordable.
Yeah.
It had to be. Naturalists aren't known for raking in the paycheck.
Right. And I love that your daughter was a part of the decision too, and like went and saw those places and saw.
Yeah, that was
she
cool.
liked, too.
Yeah.
As a freshman, so how old is that? 14 maybe?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I never know those timelines. I never remember that.
Yeah, right.
Probably around 14. I never do.
Yeah.
But
and is she into hiking and all the outdoor things as well?
She is. She is. I'm a little bit more mad dog than she is, but she's definitely an outdoor-oriented human.
Is she a golden retriever snake girl? Horn snake girl?
She's always really liked the snake. She grew up with snakes. We always had snakes. There were always snakes in her life. Always. I bred snakes. I had snakes. I had baby snakes, snake egg snakes. I mean, it wasn't, look, I don't drive around with a boa constrictor wrapped around my neck. Those people need help.
But that'd be really interesting.
Nah,
They're already interesting enough.
That's
that
a little
would just
weird.
take it a little bit crazy level.
Yeah. But snakes are kind of my thing. She turned out to be an amazing dog person. So she's into dogs.
We can relate more on that
I
side.
absolutely am into dogs. So how long have you been here now? Remind me.
I think 17 years.
Okay, 17 years. So in those 17 years, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, I'm sure, outdoor. We do really tout ourselves on the outdoor assets that we offer all throughout Northeast Tennessee. Talk to us about a few of your favorite hikes around the region, and maybe on different levels for those that are not avid hikers to those that are looking to do the most challenging hike in the area.
First of all, I think that if a hike is a good hike, it's a good hike, and you should certainly do it. Like, there's people that are like, well, I already hiked that. I'm not going to hike it again. I think that's nuts. If it's a good hike, it's always different. Maybe you're with different people. It's a different time of year. Maybe the weather's a little bit different. So I'll hike the same hikes over and over again. I am not the person ever that will get in my car and drive down to Smoky Mountain National and hike for 6 miles and then come home. I hate that. I'd rather drive for 25 minutes up the road and hike for 6 miles. So there's a lot of choices here. We even have, there's tons of places, because the Appalachian Trail runs about, I live in Elizabethton, and it runs like 4 miles, it's 4 miles away from my house. There are parts of the Appalachian Trail that are very easy to hike. We have, right on Cross Mountain, which is on the way into Shady, right at the top before you start dropping down, there's a handicapped accessible part of the Appalachian Trail. It goes through a working farm, Osborne Farm. It's beautiful. And then you dip into the woods. So you can easily find, if you become familiar with a certain website that discusses trails, they're going to tell you what the trail is, the trail length, and if it's easy, moderate, or challenging. And so I suggest people pick one and get really familiar with that source of information. A hike that, I'm taking a hike next week, and one of my, if I had to think of a favorite hike, I don't know if it's my favorite hike, but here's what I like about this hike. I'm taking a bunch of people to Buckeye Falls. And Buckeye Falls is...
I'm not familiar with that one.
Not either.
It's weird, but it's cool.
Okay.
There's a couple different ways into it. I'm going to go into it through Lower Higgins Creek, and there's 3 stream crossings, and then you're on a forest road, and then you're on a forest road which is somewhat compromised by rhododendrons, and then you literally get to places where you have to look for the tree trunk that's split in two, because there you have to take a right, and then you have to find the old dead hemlock because it's not marked, and the trails as you keep going. It's only 4 miles in, so it's an 8-mile round trip. But that last mile is you're under rhododendrons and over rhododendrons. And then the last quarter mile, I don't even know what the degree is. Most hikers don't want to hike more than 10%. This has got to be an easy 25, 30.
So, you need, like, hiking sticks with this one? Like,
no.
Okay.
Well, I would take hiking sticks on the hike, but you can't even use them on the last quarter mile because you're so bent over, and probably 4 hands, 4 little body parts, getting up that last quarter mile. And what you're doing is you're not hiking to the falls, you're hiking to a viewpoint where you can see the falls, because Buckeye Falls, they say, and I don't know, but they say that it's 750 feet. It only runs in the spring. You have to go before the trees leaf out, because otherwise your view will be obscured. So you're on top of Chigger Ridge and you're looking across the hollow, and it's probably, I don't know how far away that thing is, but it's probably 3/4 of a mile.
Wow.
And you're looking at this little tiny ribbon of water that's dropping from way up here all the way down. It's really cool. So, and I like that hike because not a lot of people know how to get there.
I was gonna say, I feel like I'd want to guide that hike.
It's not very
do.
easy.
You want a
need
guide.
Connie to go with me.
Right. I don't know where
Yeah.
the hemlock is.
And when we get to the needing to be on all fours part,
I need someone behind me in
I
case
need
I slip.
Connie with me because she's a snake charmer.
That's right.
And then I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
That's cool. These are
That is
places I've never heard of, and I mean, we do enjoy hiking, but there is so much available that so many of us do not know about.
That's true, and I'll put myself in that same category. There's so many hikes I have yet to take. There's so many choices, you know?
And so I know you love being outdoors and all things. There's a lot of other things around here besides just hiking, whether it's fishing or biking. I know you like motorcycles. Where
Right.
else do your interests lie when it comes to being outside in Northeast Tennessee?
Well, I'd have to say you've kind of mentioned two of my primaries, in that I hike a lot. And I also am a motorcyclist, and that's another thing that I've been interested in since I was a little kid. And I remember asking my parents. I remember the dinner table, so I remember what house we were in. So I remember that I had to be in 6th grade in that house. I wasn't older than 6th grade because I lived there from 4th grade to 6th grade. Talking to my parents, please, 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 can I save my babysitting money? Can I get a mini bike? And they were like, no, no. And I would ask them, you know, a year or two later, please, can I? No, 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 no. And then I ended up in college, and I ended up bartending on Block Island, Rhode Island. I went to the University of Rhode Island, and there was this motorcycle for sale at the beginning of the summer for $700, which was a lot of money, and I didn't have any. But at the end of the summer, it was still for sale. And it was $400, and I had a lot of money, and I bought it. And it was the first time in my life that I did something major against my parents' wishes, because I had yet to do that. I was a pretty good kid, and they figured it out pretty quickly. But I've ridden ever since. I have ridden motorcycles for, I think this is probably my 51st year. And I'm a long distance rider. I ride a dual sport. I have a BMW R1200 GS. It has 3 bags on it. I can pack that thing, go to California
That's
and
a
back.
comfortable ride, they say.
Yeah.
They say.
That's right.
I bet a lot of people will disagree, but I'm fine on that bike. And you know, someday I'm not going to be able to do distance anymore, but I still can, so I'm still going to do it. So
So you're not riding your bike to the trailhead. You're mainly
You're
like
going distance
yeah.
riding.
oh, but I am riding it to the trailhead. I ride all the time, like not on a day like today, as we know it's cold, but I ride to work and back a lot when the weather's like good. But I'll usually do one big trip a year. And someday when I retire, there's going to be the big walk and the big ride. And the big ride's probably going to be, you know, a couple national parks, a few people all around the country. But I like it. I like riding the bike, but any of that stuff. I enjoy fishing, most outdoor things, kayaking. I'm just a couple miles from Wilbur Lake, and it's really easy to just throw the kayak in there and do the length of Wilbur Lake's the smallest lake on the TVA system. It's only about a mile long. Go down, go back, go home. I'm like, that was cool. That was really cool.
Do you have a favorite ride in Northeast Tennessee? I know that there are a lot of
good roads.
of good roads out there, or it may even be that it's up into Southwest Virginia over into North Carolina, but it begins here in Northeast Tennessee.
I've never ridden roads like I rode here, and I had no idea when I moved here. I wasn't driving down here going, I gotta find a cool motorcycle place at all.
Yeah, you were more the naturalist hat when you were
The
looking for
naturalist
places to
hat,
live.
the mom hat, the job hat.
Yeah.
And I remember taking my bike and I went down like Piney Flats Road, which is just a road. It's just nothing special. And I remember going, this is awesome. I had no idea. I had no idea. And I kept going further and further when time allowed when I first moved here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the ride. People come from all over the country to ride here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a favorite ride. I know everybody always talks about the Snake. That's the closest well-known chunk of road that people will come to from a distance to ride. And that's from Shady Valley to Mountain City, back and forth. But I like...
Jeep, white knuckled.
Right.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a great road. That's a great road. But I like the run in from Elizabethton to Shady, because it's a little less technical and you have a better line of sight. You can go a little faster. It's pretty cool. Probably any road I haven't traveled yet would be my favorite road.
Right.
But there's many good choices. It's like many good hikes.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can't screw up.
And I know you do on hikes. I know you do a lot of classes and like educational things too, like showcasing the different flowers and things that are growing in the mountains. Is that just, have you always been interested in that too? Or is that just part of your job where you've kind of leaned more into learning about, you know?
I'd say both. It's definitely part of my job to interpret, to do outdoor-oriented programs for the public. But also, I can't see being in the woods and finding something and wondering about it and not figuring it out or trying to figure it out. That's what I would do. I'd be like, what happened there? What happened there? Why is that like that? And I would be taking pictures and I'd be trying to research it later. So part of it's just me.
Yeah.
And I remember asking my dad questions all the time when I was little. I'm like, how come? And he'd be like, I don't know. So I'd try to figure it out.
In the world of technology and video games for today's youth, how do you get them interested in learning about nature and wanting to be outside? When I was a kid, that's the only option you had when it came to playing. You were outside playing until the weather didn't allow it or your mom has forced you to come home to eat supper,
Right.
as we called it. But how do you get today's youth interested?
It's a piece of cake. It's a piece of cake. The interest in nature with children it's automatic. All you have to do is start the conversation, really. Just bring them outside. I do summer nature camps, just a part of my job. And it's interesting because in my short lifetime, my job, when I was working as a naturalist in Connecticut, for example, so that was, 30 years ago or whenever it was, I always considered myself fluff. Like I could hear the conversations at the dinner table, like, yeah, you want to go to nature camp? Fine, we'll take you to nature camp. Great. Now, people want their kids in freaking nature camp. And people want opinions from people like myself. And people want to know what they can do. And people realize the difference between the way they were brought up and the way their children have come up. And they see the disconnect. And they see the bigger picture. And they want their children invested. And I'm not saying this to act like a hotshot. I'm not. When my nature camps go live online each spring, every single spot fills up within like an hour.
Wow.
And there's many more people doing what I do. And I would imagine that they could say something similar. People are moving back towards, I want you outside. Our vacations are going to be outside. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go kayaking. We're going to invest a couple bucks, more than a couple bucks, in a few kayaks. And we're going to go kayaking as a family when we've got, an afternoon on a Saturday. And I like to see that. Kids are interested. Kids ask great questions. They just want to know. They want to know.
I'm happy to hear that because, again, that's what we did. And so I love that there's a hunger out there, or at least parents who are hungry to get the kids out of the house so that they can start to introduce them to something new and exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the kids that are in my camps either want to be there or their parents want them there.
And then they end up wanting to be there.
I would love to hear the kids' questions too, because kids always have, they're not afraid to just ask whatever it is. They're not afraid of it being a,
They're so
stupid
funny.
question. And
I mean, it's a whole lot of work, but I laugh my rear end off all summer with those kids. They're so funny. So funny.
So as I'm heading out for a hike, treat me like a beginner. And what do I need to make sure that I am prepared to do and have with me as I am headed out on a hike?
Please look at a map before you go. Please do that.
That's it.
Smart.
Because like our biggest park in the city is Buffalo Mountain Park, 725 acres. Where I come from, that'd be a state park. And I get people that are like, oh, here I am, I'm from some state far away, and it's a city park, so how big can it be? And off they go, and then I get those phone calls. I don't know. So do the obvious things. Make sure you know the trail you're going to go on, the length of the trail, and if it's challenging, easy, moderate. Make sure you do things. There is a list called the 10 Essentials, which we all thought was really dopey, but you know what? I have them in my pack every time I go out. I literally do. My pack only weighs 15 pounds.
so what's on that list?
So I'm going to have water. I'm going to have additional food. I'm probably going to have an additional coat, like the little nano puffy. You can ball it up like this and throw it in the bottom, or a decent Gore-Tex raincoat, depending upon the weather, and throw it in the bottom so you have it to break the wind, just in case. You would want to have sunscreen. You would want to have eye protection or sunglasses if necessary. You'd want to have a compass.
Oh, I don't know if I could read the compass.
One of those on my, what? Yeah. Oh, but what if I don't have service?
Yeah, if you don't have
It's on my
service.
phone.
You can have a little tiny beanie compass
Oh, Connie,
on,
I
a
don't
little,
have
on
one
your
of
little
those.
D-clip hanging off your
Okay,
backpack.
that's right. Okay.
Add it to your
Add
list.
it to my pack.
Order compass.
Yeah, so those are the things that I literally have in my pack. I have a couple of little heat blankets. They cost like $4 at Mahoney's, just in case. I have 2 because they're cheap and they weigh about an ounce.
Okay.
And in that way, because you never ever know. You never know what's going to happen. I have a story, it's too long to tell, but I was very glad on that particular day with the people I was hiking with that I had the 10 essentials. Oh, and a heat and a lamp. And they were glad I had the 10 essentials.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we used what I had.
Right. So also though, if I'm out there, okay, I've got my pack, I've got my 10 essentials. As the snake charmer, I'm on that trail and I do see a snake. I obviously am going to have no idea what type of snake I'm dealing with. What do I do?
You know what to do.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
I'm going to leave it alone, but I got to get away. How just go right past it, Connie? Like, what if this snake is in I got to cross over the
What if
snake?
he's bowed up and he's
Right.
hissing at
And
her?
he was
Then what
like,
does she do?
Come on, lady, I dare you to cross over this part of the
That's never
trail.
happened. That's never happened. And chances
I feel
are
like
it'll
it's like
never
I have
happen.
Debunk the snake fear in this woman here.
What you do is if you see a snake and you don't know what it is because that's not your thing, and you're not going to know what it is if you live to
Right.
be 500, don't worry about it. If you see a snake and you don't like him, avoid the snake. All right, so if there's a snake in the middle of the trail, then you can say, you know what, there was an intersection back there. I'm going to go back that way
Okay.
because I'm so uncomfortable with snakes and I'm going to go another hike today. Or if you really want to go that way, then wait for him to move.
Okay.
Or giant, long stick,
Right.
tap, tap,
She ain't doing that.
and he will probably move. If he doesn't move, then you could go around the snake, but then you have to consider other things, and I don't want you to get in over your head because this probably will
Correct.
not happen to you. Snake is going to be gone by the time you get there. But if there is one snake, let's say it's late March, early April, it could be mating season. So if you go off trail to circumvent the snake, there may be others.
I'm not going off trail,
Okay,
Connie.
that's
And
right.
I'm gonna
She's
have
gonna
others
turn around.
with me that are going to have a long stick. I love what snakes do, and I realize their purpose. I'm never going to injure a snake. I just don't
She
feel
doesn't want
comfortable
to
being
encounter
near the
one.
snake. Punch a spider in the throat. Walk past the snake quickly.
Turn around and run away from the snake.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
good.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that you would never hurt a snake. Of course, it's illegal to
No,
harm a snake in
I
the
would
state of
never.
Tennessee,
Oh.
most states.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, any
I would
snake.
never hurt a
illegal.
snake. And I wouldn't hurt a
Did you-
spider if it just stays outside. If you're in my house, you gotta go. Spider.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Tell you, that's one of my things. I have the code of conduct to camp, and that's one of my things is respect nature. And then I have to I explain all these rules to the kids. And I use spiders as an example. I say, if I see you stepping on a spider,
You are out.
Only if they're in
We're
my
gonna have a
house,
chat.
Connie. Only if they're in my
Lara,
house.
That's all right. And I
Now
understand.
they're no longer
I
in
understand
nature.
that as well.
They invaded private space. Okay,
I act like I have a spider problem. I do not have a spider problem.
No, I'm going to send you a pest control. Okay, I have one question. I know
Okay.
we're wrapping up,
Okay.
and we're so glad you've been here and shared so much with us. We've talked about outdoors, motorcycles. Just like when you're here, what's your favorite place to eat? We've got a lot of good food and drink, and we're foodies.
Yep.
We always talk about this.
I knew what was coming.
You knew. Do you have a favorite restaurant, a favorite lunch spot?
Oh, I'm so boring. No, when I think of favorite place to eat, I think of graveyards because that's where I always stop when I'm traveling.
Oh,
What's this?
this just got real. I'm unsure.
I've always done that.
As in like a cemetery?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because if
I
I'm
thought it was a restaurant. I was like, I've never heard of this
She
one.
thought it was a franchise.
no, really,
A little dark, but okay.
if I'm traveling, I'm probably on a back road, and if I might stop at a restaurant and get something, or I might have packed something, and then when I want to stop, I just go to a graveyard because nobody else goes to a graveyard.
Oh.
And I just I'll read my book and I'll eat my lunch, and then I just get back on the bike and go on my way.
Connie, this was a cool piece of information.
I know.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I've
Yeah.
always done that. Sometimes I'll even take the camper kids to a graveyard, and we eat our lunch, and they're like, "Wow, this is so cool." It's like, don't tell your parents.
Yeah.
Don't tell your parents.
But that's a cool. Connie, I have to say, you are a treat.
Yeah.
I have just been so.
No, you guys are a treat.
I have just been so interested in everything you have to say today. I do love to hike. To call myself an outdoor enthusiast would be a huge exaggeration.
Yeah.
But
it
I
doesn't-
find such interest in what you're saying, and you make me want to move here, and I've lived here for 20 plus years.
Yay me.
So thank you.
Great job.
Thank you for being an
Thank you
ambassador
so
for-
much.
for Northeast Tennessee. We're so thankful that you moved here. We hope that you'll stay for a long, long time and not be moving around. Go do your long trips, but please come back.
Yeah. Keep our kids educated and in nature.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And not
Thank
always
you
on
so
phones and
much.
tablets and
right.
all the things.
Yeah. And I'm going to look up Buckeye Falls.
Yeah,
I
you
don't know
are.
if that's one. I mean, I would have to be with you to do it,
You
but I
would.
do want to just look it up to see pictures.
you wanna be with
I'm
someone.
not going solo.
I want to see that view of that waterfall.
Yeah.
So maybe when Connie gets up there, then
You sent us a picture.
that's exactly.
Yeah, the pictures
FaceTime
are
me.
horrible. It's a little tiny white ribbon
Oh, that's
in
right,
this
because it's
giant
so
picture.
far
That's
away.
all it is.
In the true
But you get
millennial-
to say, I've seen Buckeye.
That's right.
That's right.
And
The
that's what you're
millennial in
shooting
me
for.
loves a view. Like I like to hike. I'm like, I'm willing to put in the work.
It's a cool
but I got to
hike.
get a good picture. You know, like
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
that photo.
This is true.
So
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very
They're
much.
making
Thank you
us
so
wrap
much.
up, not that we want to. And we're supposed to tell people, hey, like what you hear, subscribe.
that's right.
Meet me in Tennessee.
Hey, and share your favorite Tennessee stories with us on socials using the hashtag Meet Me in Tennessee. TN. Sorry, Meet Me in TN.
All that, whatever.
Until next time,
Just
happy
do it.
exploring. It's spring. Get outside, have fun. Holler
Thank
at Connie.
Thank you. Connie.
Thank you.